Well, friends, it's official. We wake up the first day of the 24-25 Edmonton Oilers season. Not Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers defeating the Oilers 4-3 in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, a 4-3 series, a 2-1 final last night in that Game 7. Solidifies Florida's first cup in franchise history. But that said, we can officially get to the meat and potatoes of what this week really is going to be for the Edmonton Oilers, and that is changes coming, right? For the Oilers right now, whether it be the buyout of Jack Campbell that appears very likely, whether it be a change at the helm of the general manager's chair, which has been rumored all season, or whether it be some other roster pieces leaving, moving, signing, all that. Well, guess what? Changes are coming for the Edmonton Oilers despite an effort that takes you all season. It was a cup or bust year, and it took the Oilers all season to actually bust, all the way to period number 3 of Stanley Cup Finals Game 7. That's a pretty impressive go, to be quite honest, for where we were in November, right? I think I read some comments back on the video last night. I was eating it there a little bit for smiling in the post game. Well, I'll tell you quite simply, I still can't believe that when I was donning the squirrel suit back in November, here we are in June talking about losing in Game 7 of the Cup Final. You gotta sometimes appreciate how dark things were compared to the shot you got at the end, and that's kind of where I find myself this morning. That said, when it comes to those changes we're talking about for the Oilers, there's plenty to talk about. We'll do that in a matter of moments, but before we get there fully, I want you to consider hitting that subscribe button. I think I also saw in the comments section of the post game last night is, well, guess what? People are thinking Dolynny TV doesn't have any coverage during the summer. Let me tell you, I'll be live on location in Cold Lake all weekend long, keeping you up to date with what I know, what we're hearing, and what we can figure out for the Oilers as they go through the buyout period, as they go through this, that, and the other thing here in this next week, because you got the draft on Friday, you got free agency on Monday, you got a whole ton of stuff happening here for the Oilers in short order following the heels of a Stanley Cup final loss. So yeah, there's going to be changes, and whether it be Cody Ceci or Brett Kulak losing their position on the Oilers defense, not sitting here blaming them for the cup loss. That's, again, if that's what you think I'm doing with that sentence, please don't. No, but simply with Philip Broberg emerging, with both those guys making a few dollars too many than you could possibly re-sign Desharnais and Broberg for combined and have your 6 defensemen. I think that's where that situation kind of comes to play for the Edmonton Oilers, is Philip Broberg really emerged. His contract, I think, is going to be really interesting. I think it was Patrick and I debating it at Game 6 down there at Molson Hockey House in Edmonton, trying to decide, is it going to be a multi-year? Is it going to be a single year? What's the dollar figure? All that. Broberg's going to be an interesting case over the next little bit. And then as well, you've got the situation with Cody Ceci, where he went from being a top pairing defenseman to a bottom pairing defenseman to scratch to all that as the playoffs wore on. And as well, for the Edmonton Oilers, I think with the buyout of Jack Campbell, what do you do with that cap space? Connor Brown's going to cost you $3.25 against the cap next year. Do you buy him another year of minimum wage in the NHL at $7.75? And hey, you know what? We liked what you did in the playoffs. Let's do that in the regular season next year and the playoffs next year, and really invest in what was a $4 million player this year technically, and make him a $4 million player next year on the books correctly. I don't know, maybe, possibly. I think as well, Matthias Janmark. When it comes to our old guys, there's 3 guys, 4 guys technically, if you're counting Sam Gagner, in this Oilers lineup that very well could be announcing their retirement over the next week or so. So I think you got to look at that there as well in terms of who you lose just due to age. Just calling it a career, right? Calling it a time. And I think, right, you've got Corey Perry, you've got Derek Ryan, you got Sam Gagner for right now. I know of one that's been considering it. I will leave that aside. I don't want to spoil anything for you on that front yet. That's information that I was told that I have to keep a little bit of a secret. But Yeah, for the Oilers, obviously things are going to evolve over the next week. They're going to change quite heavily, even if the roster literally changes by only two or three players. When you go to the Stanley Cup Finals, that is heavy change when you're talking about the finals ending less than a week ago once free agency starts, right? That's the thing. There was a chance if the parade days didn't line up in Edmonton this week that you could have had on July 1st, July 2nd, whatever it might be, guys that were no longer members of the Oilers standing in that parade celebrating a cup win as an Edmonton Oilers. So yeah, it was going to be an interesting week no matter what, win or lose, and instead here we are on the loss end of things. But end of the day is we now get to look forward to the off season. Again, this is kind of my favorite time of the year. Summertime has always been dang special to me. I can't wait to get out on the boat in Cold Lake. That's something, friends, you've seen here on the channel before. I've promoted those videos of it's how I grew up. It's how I spent my summers back in the day, and I'm looking forward to doing the same, right? You're kidding me if after losing Game 7 against Carolina, we probably didn't hit the lake the next day. So that's where I'm going to go up to Cold Lake, kind of take my mind off it, but at the same rate, keep you informed, right? I think we got plenty to go about for the Oilers here in these playoffs, now wrapped up and now to the off season. As you got to think about it here, right? As it comes together for the Oilers, they're still talking about the Conn Smythe this morning. We've had the Allmark trade at long last, but really, I think anything else when it comes to free agents, I don't know if there's anything else you really need to worry about because the cap space might not be there for the Oilers. I check Cap Friendly and get you a real breakdown, but I don't really think it matters until we have a new general manager at the helm, whether that be Mark Hunter or somebody else for the Oilers. I don't think it matters at all because whatever you're thinking the Oilers might do with Ken Holland still as general manager, it doesn't quite compute. I believe Holland is still going to run the draft. I think that was reporting on the Oilers Fanatic there the other day. But it's kind of one of those things is the bigger decisions this summer outside of a Jack Campbell buyout, which I think will be Jeff Jackson directed, as will most things here in the next week. I think it'll be pretty much up to the new GM to really put his stamp on the team, make those big decisions, right? No, just because you need to trade Ceci or Kulak to free up a roster spot in the top six on the D pairing for Philip Broberg doesn't mean you have to do it tomorrow. Doesn't mean you have to do it today. Would I like the Oilers to do it today? Sure, let's have a little bit of fun the day after the Stanley Cup final. But as it currently stands for the Oilers, no rush to do anything other than one thing that I think is likely at this point, and that is buyout Jack Campbell. So, friends, stay tuned. It's going to be a fun summer. Stick around here on Dolynny TV. Like I said, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Stay aboard. It's going to be a good one. We only got 2 months of it, by the way. We'll be back to Oilers action, technically speaking, come August 25th, somewhere around, right? The Oilers season is going to start quick on us, so stay tuned. Friends, for me, I'm going to go hit the highway up to Cold Lake. We'll catch you a little later on, either tonight or tomorrow, as we get set up for the start of the 24-25 season.